Всем привет! Вы на канале «Жизнь».
Hello, you're watching Life in Turkey, and today's topic is higher education in Turkey for foreigners. I have sensational news for you today. Higher education in Turkey costs a mere $200 a year, or completely free in some cases. How is this possible? We will tell you all about it in our video. Every year, there are more and more international students coming to study in Turkey. Why? Because it is prestigious. Turkish diplomas are officially recognized in Europe. Unis are easy to get into. You just need to pass one exam that doesn't even require you to know Turkish. Tuition fees are minimal, which is also another huge plus. Today, we will be meeting an education consultant, Anna Zdobina, who is currently studying chemistry at the Akdeniz University in Antalya. She got into this university in 2018 and spent a whole year learning Turkish, applied for a scholarship, and now helps and consults anyone who wants to try their luck to get a scholarship and study in Turkish universities for free. It just so happened that my mother moved to Turkey a year and a half before me, and it was very important for me to decide where I want to study, back home in Russia or here in Turkey. I decided on Turkey because I believe this will open more opportunities for me in the future, and this place is new and interesting for me. I believe that getting a higher education abroad is always a plus. The tuition fees are a huge advantage. I study chemistry at Akdeniz University for 1,080 liras a year, which is around 12,000 rubles a year. And in dollars? In dollars, that would be $200. And how much would the same degree cost you back home? In my city, at the State University, it would be around 180,000 rubles, or about $3,000 a year. And that's only tuition fees. Of course, there's an option for scholarships in some cases. If you would like to study at a Turkish university with such small tuition fees, then you would have to take the Special University Admissions Exam for Foreigners, called YOS, or YOS. It consists of 90 questions that are separated into maths, logic, and geometry sections. In order to sit the exam, you will have to register on your university's website and pay for it. After you complete the exam, your results will be sent to your university portal. You can sit the YOS exam in many different cities and countries, given that they have a Turkish embassy or consulate. For example, countries like Germany, UK, Belgium, France, and many more. How much the exam costs depends on where you're taking it. In Antalya, for example, it would cost around $50, but if you take it at the Turkish embassy in, say, Russia, it would be up to $100. The YOS exam does not have any Turkish language questions. Besides, many universities can offer you the English version of the exam, or other languages in some cases. You have to dedicate at least 8 to 9 months for preparations. No express courses or last-minute revision work. This has been proven many times over the years. You have to be able to solve problems fast and efficient, 1 minute per problem, and this skill can only be learned by rigorous practicing. I have seen many people moving to Turkey and not worrying much about getting into universities here, and their parents too have thought that, oh, my child has been a straight-A student his whole life, they got into a prestigious university back home, they can do it here too. And many people have gotten disappointed when failing to pass the YOS exam, because the skills were not there, and it proved to be rather difficult to pass. Every university holds the YOS exams at different times in different places. You would have to confirm these directly with your university. Here is the Akdeniz University website for all of those who are wishing to study in Antalya. The minimum pass mark for an undergraduate degree is 45 to 50. This score is what determines which faculties and courses you can choose from. As was said prior, you do not need to know the Turkish language to be able to get into a university. But how do you get a degree without knowing the language? First, the student gets accepted into the university, and the university lets them know that, okay, you don't know Turkish very well, so we'll give you a year off and send you off to study Turkish in Tomer. And a year later, they come back and start their first year. Let's let our viewers know what Tomer is for those who've never heard of it. Tomer are Turkish language courses for foreigners. They last around 9 to 10 months and cost between $1.2 to $1.5 thousand in total. Tomer courses are carried out by the universities themselves, and then the certificate you receive at the end is very important. It's what gets sent to the university. Does this mean that you can't study Turkish on your own? You can, but you would have to then take a special Turkish language assessment. You're just making your life harder. If you somehow missed the YOS exam or didn't apply for it in time, you can try to get into the university using your other grades. Many universities can admit you with certifications other than the YOS. For example, SATs, the American admissions exams, or any other national examinations you took at home. Or you can try without sitting any exams and just using your GPA. How does this work? You take your report cards and you put in a request at the university to apply just with your GPA. That's an option that some people choose to do. Well then, why go through the headache of preparing and taking the YOS exam if you can just use your GPA? Because not all universities will accept you with your GPA, and many only acknowledge the YOS, like Akdeniz for example. Secondly, it is very difficult getting in with your GPA because of all the competition, and it is usually only possible to get into smaller universities. As you probably know by now, there is an alternative to taking the YOS exam, the American SATs, that are accepted not only in the US, but in Turkey and some other countries in Europe. It has some mathematics questions, some English questions too. You would have to be able to speak English well in order to pass it. Choosing between these exams and deciding on the one you should take should really depend on where it is that you want to study. Some places only accept the SATs, and some only the YOS. I would say that the SAT procedure is more straightforward. With the YOS, it is normally individual to each big university. They set their own questions and their own pass mark, which is a very important thing for you to keep in mind. On the other hand, there are the SATs that are the same, regardless of where you take them. There are many places all over the world where you can sit them, and I believe you get 4 attempts a year. If you want more in-depth information, you can visit my page on Instagram. That is where I usually share important information about different ways of getting into universities in Turkey. Tuition fees for a bachelor's degree vary between $200 and $500 a year for almost all courses. Sciences tend to cost less, whereas art classes are the pricier ones, but never go beyond $500 a year. Medicine and dentistry are the notable exceptions, where tuition fees are the biggest. Turkey's top universities charge around $5,000 a year for these courses, whereas smaller universities and colleges charge around $2,000 a year. If you really try, you might be able to study medicine in a small town for $200 to $1,000. Regarding the studying experience itself, how are the classes made up? Is studying in Turkey difficult? Are the classes interesting and engaging? In my group, in the chemistry department, during the first year there were 30 people, and 4 or 5 of them were foreign. So it was me, from Russia, a girl from Kosovo, and guys from Iran, Afghanistan, and South Sudan, and the rest were Turkish. Moreover, we had 20 to 25 second years attending our classes, but that was very rarely. They must have had to take a reset. Is studying at Akdeniz difficult? To be honest, it is a bit difficult for me because of the language barrier. Yes, I did study Turkish in Tomer, reached the B2 level, but I almost always have to translate different terms and words. Listening and comprehension had especially been tough for me during my first month. It is much better now, though. Can you tell us what you like most about studying here? I like that there isn't a requirement for 100% attendance. Yes, they do take attendance, but you're not required to attend every lecture. So you yourself decide whether you need to attend that lecture or if you got it covered on your own. I also like that there's always activities and events on campus, different conferences, sporting events, clubs, and so on. So student life here is busy. One interesting thing to note. In Turkey, you don't get expelled from university if you fail your exams. And exams themselves here are carried out in similar fashion to any European university or American college. We have 2 exam periods a year, each at the end of the semesters, and we also have a mid-semester exam. They do not expel you for not passing. It is just marked on your record, and you would just have to try again and resit it next year. You don't even have to attend classes for it again. But if you fail every single exam, the majority of classes or just all of them, you are held back a year and you repeat it. There are actually many students here that spent 5 to 6 years here instead of the original 4 for that reason. It isn't considered shameful here at all. It is the opposite. People believe that the more time you have spent studying the subject, the better you are at it. During your studies, there are opportunities to participate in different exchange programs with universities in Europe or the US. You can also apply for the Erasmus program while you're studying and go to Europe for 6 months, or you can use your summer vacation for a work and travel program in the USA. How can you apply for these? For Erasmus, you have to have completed your first year, but for the work and travel, there are separate conditions, so no such restrictions. Now, on to accommodation. The most affordable option are the dormitories provided by the state. They cost about $50 a month, which includes 2 daily meals. These dorms are located on campus, in close proximity to the building blocks. They fit up to 6 people and are separated by guys and girls dormitories. There is also a more expensive version of around $220 a month with 3 daily meals. These rooms can fit up to 3 people. And lastly, there is an option for private accommodation with its own kitchen, so meals are not included. It costs around $150, excluding the bills for utilities. It is a more expensive but definitely comfortable option. I think it's very important for young people to interact with their own peers, especially foreign students. I think mixing in with the Turkish environment would help them learn the language faster. In case you don't like the experience, you can always switch to private accommodation. There you will live on your own, make your own meals, and enjoy your own company in silence if you prefer. There are many places where you can get food on campus. Some small cafes, some people bring their own food in, or some go to the cafeteria. I bring food from home, but pretty much all my peers eat at the cafeteria since a full course lunch only costs 3 liras. Yes, and if they can afford a bit more, they can always go to nearby cafes and small restaurants. What is this 3 lira lunch? What does it include? If you were ordering today, what would you be getting? It includes 2 hot meals, a drink, and a dessert. A full meal for a small price. Dear viewers, please let us know in the comments below which Turkish university and which course you or your children are planning to go to. If we haven't answered some of the questions you may have had, please also let us know in the comments. We have reached the end of the video. We learned a lot about universities in Turkey, the admission process, and student life. If you are interested in studying here completely free by winning a grant or a scholarship, you can view a separate video with Anna, already on our channel. The link for it should be on your screen shortly. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We always put in our best effort to make these videos interesting and engaging for you. Best of luck to all of you, and goodbye.
Subscribe to our channel and get the best professional advice.